everyone, and welcome to Ghosts of Dufferin County and Beyond. I'm Marianne Kennedy, your host, and we are doing something today on the show that we've never done before, and I think we're going to have so much fun doing it. I'm welcoming back to the show for the second time diviner Tina Hardt. Tina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
So we've got great things in store. Today, Tina is going to be going through a charm casting with us. And the topic that she's picked is pretty hot right now. And it's topical in the sense that it's not therapeutic and it's not related to me or you, but it is related to some public figures. So this is going to be fun. Tina, let us know, what was your intention and what is the topic of what you charm casted for?
So it is a little bit of a cheeky divination for divination's sake. So we're going to be looking a little bit into what the impact is going to be of Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex's book going to be. It's supposed to be coming out at a time that coincides with Her Royal Majesty, the Queen's Jubilee, and a great deal of celebration in the UK. So it's going to be interesting to see how that impacts on the royal family and also, on the Commonwealth.
How exciting. For me, I don't follow news all too often, but I mean, who doesn't know about the royal family? So this is going to be an exciting episode where we might see some fallout or just information in terms of what's likely to happen in the future. Because I always say, when I'm working with clients as well, I always say that when we're talking about the future, we're talking about possibilities and probabilities. That's what we're looking at. And very small numbers of things are very much written. The rest is related to free will choice. And that's not our singular free will choice, but all of the people connected to us. And indeed, we're all connected to each other. So talking about those possibilities and probabilities. Now, before we sort of get into charm casting, I want to share with our viewers at home what it looks like to sit with Tina. And I know we're all at home right now, but when I show you this picture, I mean, you're really just going to feel the energy of what it would be like to sit in this space with her. And it's quite wonderful. So I'm just going to upload that to our screen right now. And so, Tina, can you see that on the screen?
I absolutely can.
Lovely. So that's for our viewers can see that too. Let me just pick another image really quick because it's a different one that I had selected. Yet that's the one that shows up. How interesting. Okay, I'm just going to move this over. Can we see the image underneath?
I don't know. We can't. That's my, I call it my seer shed, the Geist house, which means like the spirit or the ghost house. So this is my little reading room that's in the backyard, and it's all done so warmly, and it's very cozy, done with a lot of fairy lights and wood. And so as you can see there, that's my casting table or my reading table.
Beautiful. So what you can see on the screen is the reading room. Is that right, Tina?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, digitally, guys, these things look a little bit different sometimes, screen to screen. Perfect. Like, look at the energy of that space. I mean, it would just be so lovely to sit in that. And so the next thing I just want to show really quickly is an image of the charms. Talk to us about what we're looking at, Tina.
Okay, so I have two kits of charms that I use. So you see the bowl there, and there's got to be about 1,000 charms in there, I think. I know I have a problem. And then below, I have another, and I call it sort of like a VIP set. And those pieces have got specific meanings. So I'll either cast a few of those first, and then I'll look for them, or I'll cast the other charms first and then sprinkle those over. I want to point out this little kit that's down below. I just absolutely love this when I found it in an antique store. It's a sommelier kit, really. So it's made so you can custom make your name and then just put it around the stem of your wine glass. But I've incorporated that into my castings and to great effect. And then my decks of cards and my candles and a couple of crystals. And then sometimes when I'm thinking, I like to use a worry stone. And then we have a lot of bulrushes here at the lake. So I use sort of dried bulrushes as pointers.
This is so beautiful and fascinating. Just before we get into, the charm casting that you did for this subject matter, I'm going to show an image, which is our last image that I'm going to share. And this is of the actual casting. And so before we talk specifically about what came up or, what we saw here or what you saw here, Tina, what are we looking at? Because it sort of looks like I can see charms, but I can also see maybe a chart of some sort. Can you help us understand what we're looking at?
So what we're looking at is what I use as a casting mat. So it's what I'm casting on, and I like this format of the 12 houses of the zodiac, not because I'm really an astrologer, but also because before I do a casting, I write out my own intentions and what I want to look for in each of these houses in case something lands in those houses. And I kind of like just the format of the pies. Now, when I do a casting like that, automatically you're going to see I made two custom charms, one for Harry and one for Her Royal Majesty the Queen. And so I will go into my charms and I will cast them or sprinkle them on the mat without looking. And I will pull a couple of those VIP charms and put them in a bowl. I don't see them either. And then I basically will cast those on top as well. With my eyes closed. And then I open my eyes and I see this. And the first thing I think is like, what the? And then I start going straight to the center and working out. I will look for a pathway and then I'll look for another path to intersect. And then slowly the narrative starts piecing together. And then the last thing we're going to do is look in individual houses if we have time.
Wow, that is so incredible. And it seems like there's so much. And thanks for answering that, because one of the questions that I had is, how do you physically cast charms? You pick them up and toss them? Is that sort of how that works?
I like to sprinkle them. As you can see, I've got sort of a casting mala around my charms because they
I
like
did.
to.
I saw beads around it. Yeah.
So the beads kind of keep them inside. And then occasionally, depending on what the story is in the middle, sometimes it'll push charms to the outside of the casting mat, or sometimes those are things that are out of control. But they're all layers. It's just all layers, 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 layers of a narrative. But yeah, that's how I do them. I kind of shut my eyes and sprinkle.
Okay, beautiful. So let's get right into this. We've got a few minutes before we go to break, but let's talk right at the beginning. What were you inquiring about? How did you ask this question, and what's some information that came up?
I really wanted to have an understanding of how the book would impact, right? I wanted to see, emotionally speaking, what the effect of this book was going to have on the impact was going to be for the family involved, the royal family. Also, Harry's, how it would be, I guess, perceived, how it would come out, and also the Queen, and whether or not it would negatively affect her celebration for her 70th years of service, 70 years of service. So that's what I was looking for, and I wanted to see if it had any bearing on what the new ascension to the throne would be too. I wanted to see if there was anything that would give me any indications of what that was going to look like in the future.
Wonderful. So Tina, share with us, what are some of the things that came up?
Okie dokie. So this is amazing. Remember, I'm throwing and my eyes are closed, right? So you can see sort of right in the center here, Harry's charm has fallen. It's the centermost charm. So now I'm going to look to see what charm that is touching first. And I get my vintage charm of a rocking horse. The rocking horse to me is still issues from childhood that still have an impetus. So now the second charm that comes closest to Harry is my charm. It's a tie, and that is my charm of business. Now this book is being promoted as not as the prince, but as the man that I've become. Make no mistake, this is as the businessman that he has become. And his business practices, which which is the release of the book, because it's, for monetary purposes as well, falls in the house of endings. And there is William. So this necktie now becomes divisive. This is definitely going to affect his relationship with his brother. And I've got two charms, one of a bride and one of a groom. And Prince William shows up there as the groom. And in this specific house, because this is also the house of institutions like the firm, like the monarchy, he is married to the monarchy. And we know that that comes with great responsibility and propriety and conforming to accepted ways of thinking and values and what he can say and what he can't say. And right at the bottom here, we see a warrior, an arrowhead, and it's reversed. Right? And it is pointing directly back at him. He cannot fight back publicly. He can't fight back when this book comes out. It's going to reflect directly back on him. But there is definitely one thing that he can do. It also comes, interestingly, as the House of Secret Enemies. So it's like Harry will end up making a little bit of an enemy of his brother. And while he can't do what he does publicly, behind the scenes, you can see he is holding on to another charm, which is a cornicello. You know those horns, and they represent vitality, and they represent, it's like a magic wand. Now, if you follow that path here from the cornicello, there's another force that is coming at it, and they meet in great conflict head on. But make no mistake, that is a shell. And even though that's a piece of flow and energy directed at William, it is passive, and William has the upper hand here. So to understand what that conflict is, I have to go to the other side where this energy begins.
And okay, Tina, I'm going to hold you right there, and we are going to go for a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
Awesome.
Hello and welcome back to Ghosts of Dufferin County and Beyond. If you're just tuning in, I have with us again Tina Hardt, who is a psychic medium and also a diviner. And what Tina's doing with us today is super fun. We're talking about the hot topic of Prince Harry's book. And what Tina has done is she has cast some charms, asking questions about how this book is going to impact relationships, the royal family, etc. So Tina, welcome back to the show.
Hello.
And how about you pick us up where we left off just before break about Harry and William?
Okay, so I guess where we lost, we touched upon the fact that William now, although he cannot sort of publicly fight back as to what is going to be revealed in the book, there's certainly something he can do. And he is able to effectively thwart the ambitions of somebody that we see on the other side of the casting mat. And this individual shows up as a reversed raccoon with a mask, and somebody who has had a very arduous quest for something involving their daughter. And when she does not get her way, which she does not because it has stopped, she turns into a completely different individual. And it's impossible not to think that that is Meghan Markle. And that's not just a media story. That's, I mean, the way that the charms land, that just is. So it had something to do with something very prestigious for their daughter, which would have had their daughter had to travel to the UK because Sagittarius, it's the house of travel and journey. And William absolutely kiboshed that because you can see the big no that's standing next to his magic wand.
So is this something that has already occurred or is this something yet to come?
See, the funny thing is, it feels to me like it has already happened, and it feels to me that this was potentially the christening of Lilibet in the UK. So the reason that this would show up again, I believe, is maybe it makes an appearance in the book, or Harry refers to William in this role. That's the only thing that I can think of. But yeah, unless it's something with repetition. So this thing of prestige could also be, I don't know, but it could be something with repetition. But that's
Okay.
like very clear. It's something that Megan wants. It's an under the radar, behind the scenes energy. She wants it, and it's kiboshed. There's also there was another opportunity or a commitment, like a loose commitment for Harry to be with the senior royals in some capacity, and that has been shut down. That's been shut down as well. And he will have other avenues or other opportunities to do so. But when the book is released, I don't think he's going to want to walk back there. I don't think he's going to want to come back across. But we'll get there later.
Okay.
So now looking at the book, right? And I'm going to the third house in Gemini, and I see this great big predatorial energy that comes directly to where that figure there, that is Charles, 100%. That is Charles. And it is going straight after him. And you can see it going straight for his back, where he is the most vulnerable. So Harry, in the way that he wants the public to see him, is I've got an empty carriage there. So all of his life of privilege and his royal background was a very empty and hollow experience for him. He wants to give his readership the courage to address their own issues the way he is going to in this book. That's what he thinks he's doing. He is unlocking some of the secrets behind his bouts of depression, mental illness, profound sadness, his addictions, and he's going to lay that all on Charles' feet. So that's all going to be communicated. The bunny at the bottom here is usually a sign of a baby. And Charles, as a father, looked like he was remote. You can see he has his back. He has his back to Harry. When he was a baby, he was remote. He was tightly coiled, and also that piece is from my grandmother. It's like an old hair curler that belonged to my grandmother. So there's a grandmother energy to it as well, which is the queen in this sense. So it'll get into a little bit of his relationship with his own mother. But these are things that Charles will feel gutted about, because he likes to keep his own private life very much close to his chest, right? And will not appreciate this being revealed to that degree. He'll feel like he's under assault and under attack.
Do you have a sense from your charm casting, Tina, that, and of course, none of us know what will be in this book, but do you have a sense from your charm casting that what will be presented in the book will be, how do you say, fair and truthful?
It'll be his truth. There's a charm that falls right here, which is really interesting. It shows Harry as a baby growing into this youth who has serious self-worth and self-esteem issues, who's become extremely defiant against conforming to the way that the royal family thinks, the standards, the values, the morality. And I feel that the thing about the Frozen Charlotte is it's got the same energy as that rocking horse, but it is a story about a girl who essentially was going to a ball in a carriage, and the temperature plummeted. There was a snowstorm, and she was given advice to basically put on a coat, and she refused it, and she died. She froze to death, right? So that charm, the Frozen Charlotte, carries with it where his father is concerned, he's kind of unevolved in his attitude, where he cannot accept his dad's humanity, and it leads to his own undoing. Do you know what I mean? It's like that needs to be processed and healed within him. But while he's so defiant to seeing the flaws in his dad and accepting him, that's going to be a little bit hard on him, right? It's going to sort of be hard for his own evolution.
How much of this do you think will be visible to us as the public, as this is sort of potentially unfolding this way?
I think that's going to be visible. The fact that these are like big clusters, do you know what I mean? I think I think we're going to be able to see that.
And how does the queen, as the charms are speaking to you, how does the queen fit into that?
So what's really interesting here is that we see a real blockage. The necktie creates a blockage between Harry and his brother. The key, right, his revealing of these secrets and opening all that stuff up, opening up Pandora's box, blocks his relationship with his father. There's nothing blocking his relationship with the queen. She falls in the house of Leo, and there's love, genuine love for Harry, and Harry has genuine love for the queen as well. And although, I see some spilt milk and some aspects are soured, there's nothing blocking that relationship. Also, this is going to have the Jubilee will go off so splendiferously, right? The queen will be adored and celebrated for everything she's done over her 70 years of service. And if you go into the fourth house is Cancer, and here's where Diana makes an appearance. So Diana is represented here as the archetype of a goddess, and she is falling, and she's reversed. And then there is the top hat, which is my charm for the upper class. So Harry is also going to talk about how the upper class had a lot to do with her issues, and that runs very, very deep with him. And as you can see, Charles and Diana here are linked. Charles' back is turned to Diana as well, so that's going to be exposed as part of, I guess, the intention of the book. And really quickly up here, I'm looking in Scorpio, we have a bell. It wouldn't surprise me. I really, really hate to see this, but the seeds are already being planted for whatever the new reign in the monarchy is. We're going to have some alarms with the Queen's health, right? And what else can I see really quickly? I'm trying to make sure we make time. Their marriage also, if you take a look in the seventh house here with their relationships, their marriage is going to go through a little bit of a rocky patch as well. It's going to need mending in certain areas. But the biggest thing that I'm worried about is the way that this comes out in England, the impact. I think Harry, I get like bloodbath. I get that there's going to be a severe reaction, like words like traitor, betrayal, right? I think that's going to have a heavy duty impact.
What do you think that would look like in real life? Is that sort of the general public sort of consensus, you think, in the UK toward Harry after the book is released?
I think so, because it's like that this knife falls on a Ferris wheel. And the first image I got was, the big Ferris wheel in London. So this is when the Commonwealth are going to be celebrating the Jubilee, and then boom, this comes, right? So I think it's going to be like Brutus, it's going to be perceived very unkindly in England, I think, in Britain.
Wow, this is fascinating, Tina. It's so interesting to dive into the lives of other people it's sort of like a public story, a public narrative, which kind of takes it into a bit of a different water than, working with an individual that maybe doesn't have a public platform life, so to speak, right? So that sort of makes this work a little bit different.
So it does, but again, sometimes when I do a casting like this, to me, sometimes it's all about the charms and how they're talking to each other. I mean, I find that such a heady experience. I mean, the rocking horse, that was a charged charm for me. So sometimes I do something else, which is I call it bibliomancy, but I could be wrong. It's where sometimes I'll get a push to go either look at a movie or go to a certain book or look up something because there's a message that is embedded in that activity. And in this case, with the rocking horse, it was really interesting because there I found a picture of Harry and William. And I didn't go researching like any of the rest of this, but it was just the picture of Harry and William on rocking horses, like when they were children. So the innocence and the bond that these two have had is deeply affected, and also that reversed arrowhead here too indicates too for William that mending this rift between the two brothers is not on his top list of things to do when that book comes out.
That's fascinating, Tina. Well, I guess we're going to see over the next little while how this all pans out. And of course, you'll have to tune back into this episode to see how it all compares, which is always fun to do. So, Tina, I want to thank you so much for being back on the show.
Everyone, it's fun to do if it's right.
I think it's fun to do anyway, because that's why I mentioned it. The possibilities and probabilities is a very real deal. That's what we're dealing with. And so can someone make, a very strategic or even like very drastic change in trajectory based on a decision they make? Absolutely. So then that changes everything, right? And so that's quite all right. So please check Tina out, tinahardt.ca. Is that right, Tina?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and that's HARDT.ca. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. We'll see you all next episode.